Welcome back. You are now tuning into the Jaelyn Murray Show. How have you guys been? Oh, it's been a week since we last left off. I truly missed you guys. And if you haven't noticed, it's a different quality today. Anywho, that is not today's conversation. Today, I told you guys I had a special gift for you guys, a special surprise, and we'll get into that special surprise later. However, today we are going to be having a conversation on awareness, and the awareness of self and the awareness of the world. So stay tuned for that a little later in the conversation. However, I just want to recap on what we talked on last week. Last week we had a conversation around the arts. We had a conversation about art being a way to transform the world, if you will. And through transformation, we are able to just inspire the world and create whatever life we want for ourselves. So if you so happen to miss last week's episode, make sure you guys go back on our YouTube channel. I have the video posted above right after this video, and subscribe so that you are watching my show. This should never be a show that you're not watching, my jammies. Come on, let's get it together. But yes, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's time to move forward. So let's see what the surprise is. I have Akintunde in the building. Do you mind if I say your full name? I didn't say the last name.
Hey, it's too late now. Yeah, it's out there.
Hi, you guys. So look, this was the surprise I have for you guys. If you don't remember, my show used to be a radio show. And on my radio show, I constantly used to bring on young people who are doing things within the community, making a difference. So we're going to get back to that. So here's just a little teaser of how next season is going to be. So welcome, and thank you for being the first on the Jaelyn Murray Show.
Appreciate it, Jaelyn. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. I gotta match her energy level. I'm working on it.
See, look at there. He's pumped.
Myself up. We're good.
You're pumped. That's what we do. You know, we rub off energy on people. Good energy, good vibes.
I actually flick mine.
So why you gonna flip your hair? You know I can't flip mine. I mean, I can. I mean, it's there. Oh, and that's another thing, you guys. We have a crowd today. Shout out my first audience members today. I truly appreciate you guys. I got Mahala in the building. Holla at Mahala. I got Tia behind the camera. And I got my barber main Zay over here to my left. Almost said my right. Anywho, so thank you guys for being a part of today's set. But let's get into the conversation. You know, boss man gotta go. He got a busy life ahead of him, okay? So before we go, I just want to introduce today's topic. Today we are going to be talking on awareness. What awareness, Jaelyn, are you talking about? Well, I mean, we're going to be talking about self-awareness and world awareness. So what do you think about that?
I'm ready for it. Let's get into it. I'm ready to talk.
All right. So awareness of self. That's the first thing. When you think of self-awareness, what do you think?
It's interesting because I feel like as a black man in America, or as a black person in America in general, but for me specifically being a male, I feel like you always have to reconcile that identity, and you have to be aware of how you view yourself, but you also have to be hyper conscious, hyper aware of how society views you. So anything that I do in life, just stepping out of the house and driving my car, I just have to reconcile that with, okay, what do I look like today? Where am I going? What neighborhood am I going to? What's the police presence there? What should I wear? You know, anything like that. And I feel like as a black man, this is something that's necessary. It's something that I've been conditioned to do, but it's also a survival tactic for me. And I just feel like, I don't know, I don't necessarily look down upon it or resent it. I just know that that's what's necessary, and that's what I do. So.
Definitely, most definitely. And that's interesting that you have that take on self-awareness, because for me, like when I think of self-awareness, I just think it's like being aware of your higher self. You know what I mean? Like it's like kind of putting pieces together of yourself. Like if you don't know you, then how is the world going to know you? How are people going to know you if you don't even know yourself? So I think that for me, self-awareness is like honestly getting to know who you are. And I guess being a part of being a citizen is basically one of the first steps. It's like, okay, I know that I'm a citizen. Now, how am I going to apply myself as a citizen? How am I going to be? How am I going to act in this world? And so I definitely think that that's a major key, if you will. Agree? Disagree?
I mean, I think it's true, for sure. I feel like also just with me being 21 years old, there's so much I had to learn about myself.
You're 21?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How does it feel to be 21? How does it feel to be in your 20-somethings? Shout out, SZA.
Same as it felt when I was 20, 19, 18. Because people been telling me I looked old, so.
I mean, you don't look old. You look like a nice, young, handsome, strong black man to me. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. We can cut that out. But yeah, no. Okay. We're gonna leave that in there. But no, that's really dope that you said that. And you know, just to speak on your greatness, how does it feel to have achieved so much in such little time?
Man, when you put it like that, it's like, weighted, loaded questions. But I think I've just been taking it in stride and realizing that, I mean, not until news articles, until other people took interest in me, that I realized it was something that was that impactful, or something that it was a story that should be told, and told by me in the way that I want it to be depicted. So I just think that me being able to dictate how people kind of view me, and being able to pick and choose what portions of my life I share with people, and making sure that whenever I do make things public, whenever I do an interview, write something, that I'm making sure I'm setting myself and portraying myself in the best light, because it's bigger than me. I know that if I do something and I have an audience paying attention, all black males, all people from the city of Oakland, is a reflection of them. So just always put my best foot forward, and always carrying myself like everybody is watching, because then I won't have anything to cover up. I won't have anything to be ashamed of, you know, something that can come up to haunt me later on. So I don't know. It's two sides to everything.
It's your brand. You're branding yourself.
More or less, I guess. I don't like to think of it like, well, yeah, it is. It for sure is. And I think that's just the world that we live in today. Everybody has to just be aware of their self-worth, be aware of, you know, the audience that they bring about. And I don't know. I just feel like the more people I meet, the more experiences I have, the more places I go, I realize that a lot more people like knew who I was, or heard about my story through someone, or may not recognize me, but once we talked, oh, that was you who did that. And that makes me realize that, like, okay, it's just, like I said, it's a story to be told that has value, and just making sure that it gets out there.
That's great. That's great that, you know, you feel that way, because when I look at you and when I look at myself, I look at us as a power couple in a sense where it's like, no, really, I really do. I really did not do. And not like that, y'all, really not like that, but just in a sense of being from Oakland, like really representing for our community, really standing as leaders and as examples of how people ought to be. Like, this is nothing spectacular. We're just being who we are. You're just being who you are. Right. So I don't like that people try to, like, you know, make people who are doing something good, like, make it like a big deal. Like, oh my God, you're doing something good. Like, no, this is what we're supposed to be doing as people, as human beings, evolving, growing, never staying on the same level, never staying the same. So I applaud you for that. So speaking of self-awareness, what is the self of Tunde that the world doesn't see? Like the 20-year-old Tunde, like, how do you manage to have fun while still being responsible and being an example to young people?
Just prioritizing. I feel like my life isn't any different than anybody else's. I mean, me and my friends go out multiple times in a week. We do what 21-year-old black men in Oakland do. So however you want to interpret that, that is probably the right way to interpret it. So,
that's real.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been a fun summer too. I mean, this is my first summer being home, being 21, and you know, just having access to all the different little clubs and events and things that we didn't really go to before.
You got guest appearances? Tunde from Yale in the building, y'all. What's going on?
Y'all see me somewhere in the hoodie, most likely.
In the hoodie? You be tucked?
Yeah.
That's real. And, you know, I like that you stay true to yourself. Like, regardless of everything, you know, you're very humble. And regardless of everything that's ever happened to you regarding the luxuries that's been given to you, you still stay true to who you are. And how is that? How do you do that?
Just staying grounded. I mean, I've seen a lot of people just from, you know, traveling, going to different schools, coming across different people. Like, a lot of people I've seen have been on like a very high level of what the world may interpret as some, you know what I'm saying, having a lot of things, but that stuff could be taken away from you any moment, and what you have to fall back on always your personal relationships and making sure that those are intact. So, I mean, if you know me, you know my friend group, you know that we've been the same friend group since we've been 10, 11 years old, from AAU basketball to Montero High School. Well, I played college baseball actually, but hoop was still life just because.
Okay.
Hoop was just more fun. Like, you know, you don't go to the park and play pickup baseball. You hoop. That's what you do.
Who taught you how to play baseball?
My older brothers and my dad. More so my older brothers and my dad, because he was a basketball player. Yeah, so, but more so my older brothers. Being the youngest out of 6, having 4 older brothers, I just learned from them. And like most things in life, they taught me. So
Okay. Going into baseball, how did it feel being that you don't see a lot of black men in baseball anymore? Or maybe there is, maybe my awareness isn't there. Educate me.
I mean, in the Bay Area, I feel like there's a higher amount of black men playing baseball than the rest of the world. So when I played at Yale I just played for maybe like half of the season, like the fall season. It was definitely an adjustment, just because I was the only black dude on the team. And it was just a different environment for me, but I was like, I didn't resent it, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, this is gonna be something new. I want to see different people's personalities, and I mean, I feel like that's how I view most things. It's like, if you go into something with a mindset of resentment and like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be the oddball out or anything like that, it's gonna then like affect how you interact with people, and people can pick up on your energy and you'll have a good time. So,
and speaking of which, you said the oddball. How do you feel like that applies into our everyday life, like in terms of self-awareness? Like, do you think that people need to consciously make a mind shift, like in terms of how they view themselves as being like the only black kid? Or like, what advice could you give for that one kid that's attending an all-white school and that's black and who's starting to feel that way?
I mean, one, just having the awareness that you are going to be some people's entrance like into the black community. So the things that you do, they're going to take away from that and like apply that to more people than just yourself. So you're not going to be judged as just an individual. You're going to be judged like on behalf of all black people. But also just making sure that you're comfortable. And
what do you mean by that?
Meaning what? Being comfortable?
Yeah, like you said you're not going to be the only, like, I didn't quite get that.
Like I'm saying, if you go to a place, okay, if you meet a certain type of person for the first time, right? Like what's somebody, like like you meet an Aborigines person for the first time. It's like the native Australians, the black people in Australia, right? And they're like a fairly rare people, at least in the United States. And you meet one of them and you have an interaction with them, you're going to interpret that interaction and apply it to more than just that single person. You're going to say, oh, I met this Aborigines guys, and Aborigines people are so blah, 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 however he was, because that's your only interest in that community. So when you're one black person in an all-white space with a lot of people who may or may not have had interactions with black people, you just have to be aware of the fact that the things that you do are then subsequently going to be applied to all black people. Whether those people are aware of it or not, that's how perception versus reality works. That's how stereotypes are applied to people. So, but I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to code switch to make yourself uncomfortable in a different social dynamic. I'm just saying that.
Do you ever find yourself doing that?
I wouldn't say I would code switch. I would say that in certain circumstances it's necessary to just blend in with the crowd. I don't like sticking out. I don't like, you know what I'm saying, things like that. So
being a sore thumb.
Yeah, and I mean, and as long as I'm not making myself uncomfortable in doing it, then I think it's fine. But I mean, I definitely know if you go into an environment that requires you to put on a suit and a tie, I'm not going to be like, oh, no, we don't wear suits and ties. I'm not going to put that on. Like, I'll put on a suit and tie, because when you enter in somebody else's space and they're the people who set the norm in that area, I just feel like, I mean, you judge case by case basis, but I don't see an issue with it. Now, if you compromising your whole self, and you know, now you're talking about
that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. Compromise. I actually will post a video for you guys. It's called it's by Eartha Kitt, or is it Eartha Man? I think it's Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. You seen that?
I mean, these videos have been trending. I don't know why people just
come on, give me
one person posted them,
and now everybody on it.
Loves Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt.
Before that,
yeah, I've never heard of her before that, to be honest. But she made one song. Okay, I'm gonna put y'all on Eartha Kitt. That's coming soon. But while we're on awareness and we're on this subject, definitely want to get your take and your perspective on what's happening in Charlottesville, Virginia,